Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you are having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Filecoin and kind of quickly see what's going on. I got a lot of requests from this one recently based on the obvious increase here today, but more importantly, just in general, I know I have some long-term holders in my community that are kind of curious about the big picture. So we're going to try to take a look at that and much more. If you're new to the channel, I am not a financial advisor. I really just love teaching people how to trade, and I hope that you can learn something here today. I have a Trading Academy community and Signal group. Link in the description below if you're interested in checking that out. I do offer discounts for military and third world countries. So message me if you have any questions. So taking a look here at Filecoin. First things first, we want to kind of recognize is on this little downtrend here, we can see the price action almost breaking through the most recent resistance. And what I mean by that, sorry, whoops. Mouse went a little freaky there. When we look at the resistance level here, we can see that there is a recent tentative resistance right at about 917, or actually 920 is a round number. So at 920, we can see on the one-day candlestick close, we have not seen a one-day candlestick close above 920 in a very long time. If ever, you could say, since it's downtrended from its original highest point here recently at $26. Okay, so bear in mind, Bitcoin right here was trending at 48,000. Bitcoin's now trending at 30,000. So it makes sense as to why Filecoin came down this low and is where it is. But generally speaking, it's definitely coming back or trying to make a comeback here. But again, on the daily, we can see we just have that tentative resistance. And for right now, the candlestick is still below that. So I'd say a candlestick close above 920 would be huge today to give us that potential momentous push to break through that resistance level. Obviously, volume and a handful of other things are relevant factors, but if we take a look here, we do see more volume today than over the weekend. But once again, it was a green weekend for Bitcoin. It's tentatively a green day for Bitcoin too. So bear that in mind as well. Take that with a grain of salt in the sense that Filecoin does need some stability from Bitcoin to do well. It's needed that before as also, and just something to note too, is it does have a tendency of pumping on random occasions, but it's usually when it hits these key level resistances that it keeps trying to test through, which is happening right now. So on a positive note, we could very well see a breakout to the upside. Taking a look, of course, at the simple moving average, we can see the price action is moving its way up here, but we're still not above the 20, nor are we above the 50. That's pretty common for a lot of coins right now, so just keep in mind we could see some resistance right around 1025, which is the next key level Fibonacci retracement line. Taking a look at the RSI, we can see we're trending back closer to 50, but still under, closer to 30, you could say, and that's traditionally not a great sign. But we do have a MACD convergence that occurred, but a lot of coins converged, so to speak, roughly 2 or 3 days ago, based on the overall momentous downtrend that we had, and the fact that it's finally, we're days later here, we're basically a full week or 10 days almost into this sideways channel. So you got to keep in mind that the more time you spend in this area, the more likely it is to break free from that, based on overall the overall sense of the market. And for right now, the Nasdaq and S&P 500, they are all kind of break even today. They didn't gap down over the weekend like usual, so that's a positive sign. A lot of coins are kind of taking off here, and I'd be venturing to guess here that we do have Bitcoin dominance coming down, which yes, it is coming down. So ultimately, if we can see anything that's positive, is to see Bitcoin dominance coming down as Bitcoin price increases. That tells us more money's coming into the market. There's less fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and prices are going to increase for some altcoins, or at least most altcoins. We see a fairly green day here today. It's a nice change of pace. But suffice to say, that's kind of what we're looking at here, and that's generally, the consensus, I guess you could say, based on where we're at for the moment. Anyways, taking a look at the 4 hour. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here for the 4 hour. We can see obviously a lot of volume in this one little candle here. Okay, tremendous amount of volume. So there's probably some kind of fundamental catalyst, something to kind of push it up there, of course. In most cases, that's what happens with altcoins. So pay attention, maybe take a look at the social sentiment and see why that had increased. There could be something there, but it could also just be the simple fact that we've had today's finally a green day, or today's finally a Monday, and we haven't seen a sea of red yet. And a lot of folks are feeling maybe a little less concerned about the overall market, and they're investing in coins like this that is still a good value. All right, so again, just something to think about there. But we are above both moving averages of 20 and the 50. That's fantastic news. We've been maintaining that for quite a few hours now, so it's a really good sign. So ultimately, the 4 hour looks pretty good. It's just a bit on the overextended side. Okay, so in other words, when we're up over 70 in the RSI, if we can get this candlestick to close above here in about 20 minutes, we might actually see that continue higher. Okay, so Filecoin does have potential to continue to progress upwards from here based on that sentiment, because it's no longer working as a resistance. We can close above that, would be really good. So if we open another 4-hour candle above 70 on the RSI, we're going to be looking in good shape. We, of course, had a MACD convergence a couple of days ago. That's pretty standard for a lot of coins based on the fact that it's kind of just slowly, eventually averaged itself out where the 12 intersects with the 26 in an upward fashion. So essentially, we're looking pretty good here. The 4-hour does look like a pretty decent transitionary time frame there. We do just have to kind of concern ourselves a little bit with this strong amount of volume in this 1-hour candle. That is problematic potentially, just based on the simple fact that it's a lot in a very short amount of time. If we go to smaller time frames, we can maybe identify, but I'm willing to guess we're well outside that standard deviation, and there needs to be a contraction, so to speak, to the inside to effectively allow for it to kind of relax and calm down. Before we do that, though, let's take a quick look at TD sequential and see we were up to an 8, came down to a reset, and we're back up to a 1. So hypothetically, we're right at the beginning of this push, and it could very well continue higher from here. The key is that we're above, tentatively, 920 as a resistance, and that's an important thing. Just note, a lot of volume in a short amount of time can lead to a decrease in value, okay? Again, it depends on how the price action responds, but generally speaking, that's where we're at. We're also above the cloud as well, so all good stuff there. We generally have green lights here across the board for Filecoin. The last thing to kind of look at here would be the volume weighted average price. We might need to go into a smaller time frame to identify this, but if we can see, it worked itself well outside of that standard deviation. In fact, majority of this volume occurred in about a 5-minute time frame. So we got 5 minutes up in that case, then it's retracing, consolidating. So it's doing a good job about sticking out here as well. And obviously if the price were to come back down, as long as it doesn't come any lower than 877, which is really close to where the volume weighted average price is averaging itself out, then we'd be in pretty good shape. And if you're not familiar with this indicator, it's a fantastic day trading tool. What it does, it helps you understand the volume in the last 24 hours expressed as a price. So when it comes up here and goes outside of these lines, you can expect the price to contract and kind of work within it. In other words, it'll inevitably come back below because the amount of volume is high, because obviously that works into this deviation here, but it also tells us that even with increased volume, the price action went higher than the volume should have reflected. In other words, completely bullish volume. And there was no selling pressure at all, which is why we saw this occur here, and we have to work within those standard deviation lines. Again, just something to note, and then this middle line here is just the volume weighted average price. So it's basically the volume expressed as a price. 877 right now is what the price should be, based on the volume we've seen. The price is much higher than that, so we got to understand there's potential for it to come down and test that. All right, so again, just some stuff that I like to look at. But generally speaking here, we're looking all well and good. Just note that this is a tremendous amount of movement in a short amount of time. That can cause potential retracement, but I would say if we close above 877 today, it would be helpful to keep us above that volume weighted average price, preferably 920 though. A one-day candlestick above 920 today would be huge. That would really help us understand that we're probably likely going to break this trend here of staying under 920. Okay, so again, 920 is a point of contention, but even if we were to come back down and come lower, just say hypothetically, if we were to look at the Fibonacci retracement level of 870, that is the point in which we want to see the price come back down and bounce. So if the price were to retrace, which is potential based on the fact that we have a lot of volume in a short amount of time, if we were to come back down and bounce out that volume weighted average price, or just say that key level Fibonacci retracement line, it will continue upwards from there as well. Okay. Again, it would establish higher lows and continuously be making those. And that's an important thing to acknowledge. So again, we're in really, really good shape here for Filecoin. I would say green light here, of course, but preferably above, close above 920. Other than that, I hope that you learned something here today. Of course, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the site, link in the description below. And obviously, feel free to message me, comment below, all that wonderful stuff. I greatly appreciate all your feedback too. I've had some really awesome feedback from some folks in general about how good some of these analysis are, at least for them, right? It's not for everyone, I get that, but hopefully you can learn something, and that's the important thing. And a lot of my members right now are presently learning a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. So happy to be part of that process with you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Once again, thank you so much. Look forward to working with you. Have a good one. Thank you.